Papers. Oh. That's already good sign. Thank you. We're gonna place your hair smell. I'll probably say somewhere else, but I'll throw it. I'm going to assume this. Yes. If she does, I'll throw it out. I'll do it. Make a big paper airplane. Get it right in there.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
We live, Joey?
You can start on if you like.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the May 6th, 2026 council study session. Welcome to all those that are participating in the room and those who may be observing either live or remotely at a later time. We appreciate your participation. Again, I'd like to acknowledge Shane Grow, interim fire chief from the city of Pocatello, that's here with us today. I think looked like you shook most of their hands on the way around. Appreciate you being here in support of one of our agenda items today. Thanks for having me. We will jump in and get started. General business item number 1. Council is a proposed MOU for automatic aid with the Pocatello Fire Department. That is Chief Clark's topic, and we'll invite you. Your counterpart. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Today, we just want to, start a conversation of looking into, automatic aid between the Pocatello Fire Department and the Cheddar Fire Department. So we just have a quick little slideshow to kind of define the difference between mutual aid and automatic aid. So as I start this, if you have any questions, please just interrupt and we'll answer the best that we can as we go. Automatic aid, automatic means it's the closest appropriate resource dispatched automatically. So mutual aid means if I need help, I still have to get on the phone and call Pocatello Dispatch, say, hey, I need some assistance and I'm gonna request 1 engine, an ambulance. What we're trying to do is streamline this process, so by working together, we all automatically know. If I say, Pocatello sees I have a structure fire, I already know what I'm doing. Okay? This is gonna be for an all hazards, so not just, don't think of this as just fire. It'll be for EMS too. So why an automatic aid? It is a it delivers a faster, proves faster for life safety, containment, firefighter safety, and property conservation. Some of the benefits, it reduces response times. Oh, there we go. Sorry. It has a stronger initial attack. It improves our 2 in, 2 out.
Which is, explain it to me.
So the 2 in, 2 out is that when we do have hazardous environment, we have, it's a OSHA rule that we have to have. If we have 2 people in, we have to have 2 people outside for safety. And for firefighter safety, it's a safer interior of operations, it reduces fatigue, and it's a better accountability of command support. Also, it establishes the first arriving, go ahead, Jody, sorry. It establishes a first riding unit for command. And when it comes to each of our departments, we still keep our own policies. The same discipline stays with the departments. And the same chain of command.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, depending on the jurisdictions, so there's a handoff, I assume. So if the fire is in Pokey, but we respond to it first, then
Then
they
we
show
would-
up, then you do the, that's when you do the handoff. or
We
keep command?
would be in charge at first, and then when their units got there, we have the choice of keeping them or handing it off to
Okay.
them. Same way with here, if we were on some other call and we got a structure fire and they made it here, they would be command. And then as we got our riding units back to them, they would probably hand it off to us.
So is any call that comes in, is it automatically two of you respond?
No.
Jurisdiction,
No, not
so what
necessarily.
determines, how do you know when it's just you or it's, they're gonna be there or both of you coming, I guess that's what I don't understand, how does the system work?
It depends on the level of the call that comes in. So Pocatello has, they identify by an alpha, a basic, a Charlie, or a Delta. The city of Chubbuck doesn't quite do it that way, but we're hoping some of that we're hoping some of that will streamline each other's departments to help with that situation. So if we just have a person that needs a lift assist, say it Cottonwood Cove or something, we don't have to send an ambulance out of service for that. We would just send one of our guys to go pick that person up. So it's trying to use our resources and be more efficient at what we're doing on both sides.
So basically, as the call comes in, then you code it on what's there.
The
that's how you-
dispatcher will code it and then identify what unit needs to go.
All right,
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
dispatch is gonna triage those, and if they say it's a fire. Then they're gonna say, okay, for a structure fire, this is what we've agreed on with Chubbuck. Pocatello will send an ambulance, an engine, and a command or battalion chief. And so if it's just a medical call or, you know, for any types of, or any range of calls. Dispatch would have those triage instructions, and so they would just decide automatically how, you know, what we as the two cities have agreed on sending.
I'm also assuming it's also proximity.
Yes, yeah, and that's really the goal of this is. To not put the boundary in the way and to try to provide, you know, we're close enough communities that we don't wanna silo ourselves. And really, the goal of Chaz and I is to create the best service for the citizens of both cities. And you know, use those resources as efficiently as we can and provide the best service for the citizens that we can.
go ahead, Joey. Yeah, and then it's just at the last, just to reiterate, it's just, we believe this is, it improves the safety, the efficiency, and, the best outcome that other communities have used this model has proven to be pretty successful. And we would just like to start that conversation and see if we could go down this road to see if it improves our situation.
Okay. So, as long as we got to use it, I'm sorry, we'll have this die hard, overlapping fields of fire on this one, which is, I'm fine with that. So, you know, as long as there's a good communication route, good leadership handoff.
And at any time, if it doesn't, which there's no obligation, we can sever it and go back to how we're doing, you know.
Yeah.
So there's no money, so it's pretty.
so how do you measure whether the success of?
How I'm gonna measure it is, we use a data analytics software program called, Dark Horse. And we can tell how fast, it gives us our response data, how fast we access, how fast we can get the first unit on scene. How fast for a fire, we can get the first 4 people on scene, 2 in, 2 out. And so we can evaluate that.
and see if it is in fact improving or not improving. Because we're doing this, we obviously feel like it's gonna improve service,
Right.
but,
I believe it will too, I'm just curious,
yeah,
how you measure that.
we have that empirical data that we can monitor over the course of the next 6 months to a year and adapt the program as we need to if we make changes.
I'm assuming you're gonna I'm assuming both because the SOPs are pretty close to each other.
Well, we're actually just starting this, so we haven't compared this of SOGs, SOPs.
Some of the things that,
Yeah,
as we.
Yeah.
just so we know, each other's level of training, each other's, how they operate. But I think as we build those relationships, we're closer together. We move closer as a department, as two cities.
And I do believe the last time I talked to him before, that he told me that he was pretty sure we piggyback on your dark horses.
Yes.
Yeah, so then we should be able to start tracking our own stuff too on that dark horse that we were gonna hope to.
So you guys, I know this is kind of redundant, silly question, but so you guys have the same common links, right?
Yeah, radio channels.
Yeah.
We don't operate on the same, but we have access to each other's.
Okay,
Yeah, we have the ability to communicate with each other's.
so when they triage them there, so when the dispatchers triage, are they the ones who said your frequencies?
Yes,
Okay.
at least for us, if Chubbuck responded to us, they would say respond to a structure fire on 123 Main Street. Operations, op 16 is your rate for the frequency.
Okay,
That's pretty standard.
just curious.
And that was my question too, is we were talking about their frequencies assigned to that, to respective jurisdictions, but then down here talking about common communications, so.
Yeah, we have each other's frequencies, so that's not a big deal to communicate with each other. So if we're going into their jurisdiction or their government.
And we do that currently with EMS calls
Yeah.
when we send an ambulance into Chubbuck.
Yeah.
We can communicate.
That says, look, it should almost be SOP right there. Just say it,
Yeah.
sorry, all habits die hard.
Any potential problems you see right now?
I think this is a pretty initial step, so I don't see a lot of pushback. The problems that Chaz and I have talked about. Are we going to expect you, the city of Chubbuck, to send an engine to Indian Hills Elementary School? That's probably not what we're looking at. We're probably gonna look at the overlap areas of, Quinn Road to Northgate, that's gonna be more of what we're gonna look into and not really expect Chubbuck to send an engine that far south.
And during the Highland High School fire, both jurisdictions were involved, were they not?
Yes,
And a lot of that experience probably has been incorporated into what you've got here, I would imagine.
yes. And in that situation, Chubbuck was involved with us, but we had to request it. So we had to get on the fire and realize that we needed help. And then call our dispatch to go your dispatch to ask for an engine. Where if we had this agreement in place,
Be
it
automated.
would be automatic.
Yeah.
Your engine would have arrived sooner.
Yeah.
And sooner is always better, sure.
Good night, Counselor. That's just a couple questions. Many of them we've talked about, Chaz, and I think it's worthwhile. This does not require an increase in resources from either department. Vehicles, manpower. So we're comfortable, we're okay there. For council's benefit, this is a study session today. It's not on our council agenda. We'll put it on our council agenda in the future for approval if that's your desire. You intentionally left that off for now. I have visited with Mayor Dahlquist and 2 other council members. I'll support that. I would encourage you, if you have those questions, to reach out to your peers, elected officials, public health. Our legal has reviewed it. I believe your legal has reviewed and approved it, according to Mayor Dahlquist. The other thing that we had a little bit of discussion about, is there any liability to either organization if you get an automatic aid call? If Chubbuck gets the automatic aid call and responds to public telephone. And we don't get there for whatever reason, do we have a liability?
You're already busy. No. No, I think in the agreement, it states that if you're busy, you're on a call, you know, as with call volume is increasing. We would just, we would call backfill, we can.
Right. I agree, I think the language is in there, I wanted to make that known to us that we don't think we have any liability for our workers' stop.
I see.
And equipment's similar, right?
That's
I might just clarify that just a little, Mayor. I think anytime the cities enter into these, if there's a third party that suffers a loss, they look at this and they will evaluate the factual situation under the context of those agreements. And I don't know that it's that easy of a yes, no answer, but honestly, I think that's why cities maintain liability insurance. And they do the best. I mean, we would have that same liability on a regular call.
Right.
Right. And so I don't know that it necessarily is a net increase in potential liability, because in some circumstances, maybe it decreases liability if we have additional help. So I don't know that it's a straight equation of, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. I just think depending on the circumstances, the cities could be, this agreement, if signed, could be requested at discovery, and there could be questions about, hey, what was done in response to this? And so I actually don't think it's a super easy answer, but I think if both parties are complying with it, the potential for liability is really reduced because you're complying with the what you've agreed to. I do agree that in a setting where maybe, from a Chubbuck standpoint, we have fewer, we have less manpower. We're out on a crash, by Walmart, because that's where we always see our firefighters out there cleaning up glass, out in front of McDonald's. And we get another call, well, that automatic aid is gonna send them out there, which may reduce Chubbuck's liability in that setting, because sometimes we're occupied. I see Pocatello helping out more on that type of a call for Chubbuck, and I probably see Chubbuck helping more on a border, Quinn area or Northgate area call where we can get there faster, reducing their liability. But I do think with these agreements, as in everything we do, there's always liability, but we have policies in place to try and comply. So I don't think it's a net increase in liability, if that helps.
So, just to follow up on that side, I guess one reason why I was asking if their SOPs and their training same or very similar to, I get, because that's another thing that you brought up was liability. Would that kind of ameliorate the liability to an extent?
I don't know if the same SOPs would ameliorate that. I think it would be just complying with the agreement with what we've agreed to do or what they've agreed to do is really gonna satisfy the burden of that. If that includes matching SOPs, then that's what would need to happen, but I don't know that matching SOPs per se is a decreased liability.
Truly, if you look at.
But I do think this decreases, I do think this creates more safety for residents, which I think is maybe a better measuring stick than
No, I agree.
trying to measure liability.
Truly, we're already medical. Just medical. Because it doesn't matter, as soon as there's a medical call in the city, we're dispatched along with an ambulance. But what we wanna do now is move this model a little bit more towards the fire side now to see. But realistically, this isn't nothing new that we haven't been doing for 10 years. Like, so.
One thing that I was noticing too, back to Ryan's comments under section 5 sub A. And you've got that the indemnification hold harmless clause in there. Might not be a bad idea to double check with ICRIM to make sure they would cover us for that if that were to be invoked. I mean, both cities. So we're assuming a liability that we want to make sure that our ICRIM coverage would apply.
And we have these and I will definitely look back. This is a pretty standard law. And I think that actually kind of addresses the liability question, and that is if the city of Chubbuck has complied with what it's supposed to do, then we've got an indemnification promise from Pocatello. If Pocatello's complied and Chubbuck has some issue, then Chubbuck has an indemnification promise to Pocatello. So I really don't see liability on a huge issue, but I have seen, especially out when you get like wildland fires or you get big, what do they call the multi-alarm fires? You know, like the New York one, when they call people in from everywhere. All of those people that respond just become somebody that gets named in a claim, right? Just because nobody knows what facts are when they have to get that file.
Right.
And so I think that's one of the issue is yeah, this potentially becomes an issue. If there is a claim somewhere down the road, probably links both. Maybe not in a different way than the mutual aid already does.
Yeah.
I really don't see a lot different than mutual aid from a liability standpoint.
Well, and that's an important point. This is not gonna keep us out of court.
Yeah.
But it's.
But I think if you see how many
Get it.
claims, I don't even know how many claims have ever been filed against CFPD. I know of none. Maybe, I think there was one in Shelley. I think we had something where we went maybe to Shelley and home. Last year, yes. And that I think is the only, and all, the tort claim was filed and I think we got. Because we complied, I think we. So honestly, I don't see this being a huge liability issue, more protective than liability.
Other questions, council? Is this something we want to move forward to a decision process?
I believe it is, Kim.
Chief, what's the timing at Pocatello for council to approve this, do you know?
I would have to get on, let's see, their next council meeting is this Thursday. I would have to get on the soonest I could get on their council would be 2 weeks following from this Thursday.
Okay, we're
That's their calendar.
is on the 20th. Okay. Great,
Thank you.
any other questions?
Good. Okay, let's move on to our three budget items.
Thank
you. Number 2 is a presentation by our fire department for their FY 27 proposed budget.
Yeah.
Scroll through the slides.
Okay. Okay, so in 2025, our total call volume was a little over 1,900. 1,373 of them medical calls. Like West summary. We are asking for about 10%. You'll see on the administration, they're actually went down. And our operational expenses have went up. about 60. When you go to the next slide,
I'm just curious, what are the major things in the operational expenses that have gone up?
the operational, as we get towards the line on Wall, so you allocate, yeah. And a lot of it has, some of it's with, just personnel, because we added 3 personnel. So that comes with gear and.
Yeah.
Along with some training and stuff, so.
So these may be, I'm sorry, I mean, you're right.
No, you're right.
So this may be like, some of these will be one-time expenses.
Some of
Some
them,
of
yes, yes, some things like their gear and stuff, though, it has a life expectancy, so that kind of stuff, so turnaround bill that we're looking at. We went down on our administration side. We also, the alarm communication is like the stuff for the phones and our cell phones and stuff, and the reason that we hit that 45 number is because that's kind of what was left over from last year, so we're gonna go with. That should be about right, because I don't see much change in there. The training and the prevention is up a little bit, just like I said, because we added 3 new people and. You'll see that the 30,000, I'll explain that on the next line item, why that's so significant, because that was basically purchase payment for SCBA's that we just been keeping there until they needed to be placed. And then our protective equipment and the tools has went up from. So our capital equipment summary, see that we have budgeted, well, in fiscal year 29, we have to make a decision, our bottles will be up. And at that point, we need to make a decision on if we just buy bottles or if we buy the whole SCBA. So the whole unit with the bottle is right around 10 grand a piece. And bottles I can get them replaced for right around 2,500 bucks. The bottles are good for 15 years. So. I don't know if the packs will last another 15, but we also need to take a look at. What that looks like if we do another 10, will the packs take another 10? So I need to do a little bit more digging, but we will have to make a decision one way or the other. Because it's a life safety equipment on, but that's in 29, that's why we have that there. Our fire engine, our main pumper. When we got the truck in 2020, we paid $700,000. Yeah, last year. The same exact truck. And it's 4 years out, so our truck right now is 6 years old. And what we usually do is we plan to keep them as a frontline engine for the first 10 years. And then the next 10, they go to a reserve status, which would be a 20-year life expectancy for a fire truck.
Yeah.
So it's just something to keep on the radar that as of now, if that's the model that you wanted to, we would have to look at ordering a truck to have it replaced by or
Order it now, you're saying, to replace them?
because it takes about 4 years to build one. They're 4 years behind in building a fire truck right now. So
We should do one.
it's kind of,
That was about
The last
so, and then you'll see we have this cardiac monitor. Pocatello bought us one that we have right now currently. Due to our call volume, it's pretty common that we have back medical calls, so I would like another cardiac monitor to be on the next, on the second out. So that's just something. I looked at doing a graph for this one. Unfortunately, the one that I looked at, this number is a refurbished monitor, not a brand new one. A brand new one's about $48,000. The GRAC won't accept refurbished. So, and it was only good for 80,000, so it exceeded what the GRAC paid, and they won't let you, it has to be the exact number, it won't let you. So,
It won't let you put in the extra money.
isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
That's just the firehouse one that they have is pretty common, but yeah. So anyways, okay, there's still some options there, but. And then. We need to buy just another set of rescue tools to go in our truck, and that's around 37,000 for a set. And then I just have in there, we're always replacing turnout gear. They're about $6,000 for a set. So, these are what have the life expectancy of 10 years on. And so, not just is it the 10 years that usually gets them, they get ripped, tore, destroyed, that kind of stuff. And so, I'm always trying to buy 1 or 2 or 3 a year, just so that I don't ever have to look at a huge number. So we always try to keep that in mind.
Good.
Our capital projects request were. I would like to look at, we're running out of room in our fire station, and I would just like to look at. The possibility of doing some remodeling,
What kind of remodeling are you looking at now?
just expanding for some living quarters and stuff, and. Like a bay, how we're having a talk with possibly an ambulance and stuff, I would just like to, as we remodel, maybe have a few things in place for that.
Mhm.
And I just feel like right now in this economic time, I think it's probably more realistic if we look at just remodeling what we have than trying to build something else. That's,
Chief, trying to increase capacity, when you say remodel, are you talking about adding on versus remodeling the footprint that you have? And that's important. From a impact fee usage standpoint. You're not talking about utilizing the exact same space and remodeling, are you talking about?
we'd have to add,
Okay, in
yeah,
addition versus.
it's in a, sorry,
I just wanna make sure I understand it.
that's why you're up here. Keith. Yeah, so it would be an addition.
So 50%, 60% over the size of the facility now, or what are you talking about?
I'm saying probably 40 to 50. Having just some more room for extra equipment, bays and personnel.
So if we were to look at, we talked for as long as I've been on the council, I didn't. Upcoming need for a new station. I think with our development and things are going, I think we're getting closer to that need for a new station. There's $750,000 into this right here, or is we better off start looking at a new station? Granted, it's, 4 or 5 times this amount, but.
Just as long as we have the same conversation as. It's not just as easy as building a building. A building comes with personnel.
Right.
And apparatus and equipment and everything else, and that ends up being a very big bill, so. That's where I'm trying to be more. I'm presenting more. Conservative at
Band-Aid
this
on that.
time, just because, I just don't feel that comfortable that it would be.
Right, and I appreciate that, and I think that, like I said, I mean.
But I'm with you,
It's like putting
I agree
Band-Aids
that
on
there's
right
a
now.
conversation there to be had, I don't know. I don't know being new, how much growth and how much. before we say, I don't know that answer yet. I need to do some investigating into that to see. I think some of that, me getting on that dark horse program that Chief Grow talked about would really help us with some of that stuff. We've never been able to track that kind of information. And I believe that you've seen some of it, and it was really good.
Couple things, council, if you can,
Go ahead.
in addition to what Chaz has represented. One, first with the addition, the renovation and addition. If you haven't been in the facility since they've added their additional staff last year, they basically used up every storage room and conference room is now a bed. So the, just from a human standpoint, the facility is at capacity.
Mhm.
Some of this is driven by if we had extra beds now, there's a chance we could house an ambulance. So we're trying to step towards potentially mitigating our EMS calls with where it's housed in that facility. There's other things to overcome there, but that's a big piece of this. We have to have some Pocatello staff in our facility. Relative to the Dark Horse software, we went through the analysis of that and they wiped the slate clean of both Chubbuck and Pocatello fire and EMS stations. Looked at all the call volume, modeled where the station should be. Our station right now is where it should be, even in today's model. Wow. And so it's indicating that we may not have that demand on the periphery like we once thought we had. When we actually look at the data that Dark Horse product provides.
Well, that, just what we just talked about here, that kind of helped eliminate that too.
Well, 13 of the 1900 calls are EMS related.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I share what council with you. I have great appreciation for Chief Clark taking that view of it. Yeah, I think he's got a little bit of work to do to get clear of those things, but I greatly appreciate that he's taken the stance that we don't need to go invest 10 to 15 million dollars, double staff. There's a potential much easier way for us to solve those response needs.
Well,
Let's do it.
here's the,
Well, and even if you do talk about another station, the station that you have now is not going away.
Right.
As you go,
Right.
so it's, even if you look at expanding it some.
We're expanding it, some, you're gonna get us another 50, 20
Additional, you're
years.
still gonna utilize it, it's
Yeah.
still, yeah.
It'll get us
It's not like
another
you're
15,
throwing
20 years down the
money
road.
away at it, yeah. Cause it will always be a functioning station.
yeah, that's the next question I got as far as that, so like say, for example, we expanded the footprint of. We had the room to that firehouse, right? Now, I wanna know. Or we can find out where the break point is where we are gonna actually have to need. A new firehouse in comparison to the population base and the EMS calls. I think those two variables would demand that. And to me, it's, for example, we've done, I think, I can't speak for it, but I think we do need the expansion for the current firehouse. Cause at least that'll stave off us having to build that firehouse for a year, maybe a few years. Again, it depends on our growth. We talked one time of what was our traditional rate of growth for the city? Was it 2%, 2.5%?
Yeah, probably, Bridget, you know, our models. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So wherever that XY axis comes into play. Where those two graphs meet, I think that's where we should start looking at.
The software, I think, can help us model that, where we get access to it.
So that would be actually. I would like to know when that break point is.
Our fire impact fees that we've been collecting. We've been putting those away to go towards the new station, right?
Go
Not necessarily for an
Okay. But if we added on, that would qualify for
That's what we're
impact
talking about,
fees.
exactly.
I want to know.
And I will, yes, you have to increase capacity,
Okay,
okay? That's why my question was, you're not just talking a remodel.
moving walls,
but
you got that.
truly increasing capacity is what it requires.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I mean, I just food for thought, I don't know if it'll ever become a reality, but the north, excuse me. What's the tip, what's Santa Fe's tip? Harvest Springs. Harvest Springs TIF has a fire station programmed into its last few years. That's a great big if there are resources available. Before that TIF expired, if there was the opportunity, it's programmed as a fire station up in the New Day, Northgate area.
On, talk about growth, I mean, the packet we have for city council there tonight, there's quite a bit of growth planned in there.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Okay. Next slide. So. Here for personnel requests, I'm asking for 3 battalion chiefs. This year. So. The true number of that is a lot higher, but what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to take some of my money from. One of my firemen. And supplement it. So I will move a guy up, but I won't. Backfill that position.
Carry out there.
Yeah.
It took me a while to understand this model, and I fully support it. Yeah. It did take a minute. The battalion chief model is not creating 3 new positions.
Right.
It's elevating captains to a different level of authority, and then as the chief says, he's not backfilling those positions. So it's not-
Captains up, battalions,
Yeah,
not
let me-
replacing the captains necessarily.
Go to the next slide, Joe.
It doesn't add staff, it changes job duties.
Right.
Yeah, so what really is gonna happen is the personnel that I call captains now are gonna move to that battalion chief. And then I'll bump another guy up to a captain. So then what really is going to happen is this battalion chief's gonna be over that platoon. Those 5 guys. And then that helps me give the ability, so when we have incidences and stuff, the battalion chiefs are already there in the station, we can already roll. And establish a command. And our crews get to work. Before I'm there. So, yeah, basically back in the day where Merlin did it all, this is what we're trying to fix. That's really what we're talking about. And so. This is, I'm really asking personally that. You fund the battalion chief model for us now. Fire is basically the greedy people at the table this year, and I understand that. But also. Chief Sasser had came and said that he's willing. To. He was going for deputy chief. On the same plan that I planned, next year you won't hear from me, and I'll support Chief Sasser for deputy.
But you've gone
We have.
for many, many years.
Yeah.
How long has it been?
Fire's been sitting on the back burner. for a
Well,
long,
I
long
mean,
time.
I think that's,
It's your turn.
I think that's just how we, prioritize stuff, and I'm fine with that, you know, that priority is how it works, everybody has a need, but I understand, but. I don't ask very often, but this battalion chief thing would really help me out.
Yeah, okay.
And that's kind of.
And the
Do you have
entry-
any more questions about battalion chief? I know it's kind of confusing, but I also feel like I put some skin on the
It's improving your middle management.
I don't really have any. Help on the management side, and neither did Merlin, and that's what that's one of the things that I feel is our next step. We're getting more people with us to have to take care of all of the. Inspections and everything in the city along with all the personnel, and it'd just be nice to have a little help. So that's what we're asking for.
So that 180 is the price bump to do that,
Yeah,
and that will be an ongoing.
yes,
This is for 2 or 3, you said.
it's true, yeah, it's for people.
3 people. That are already-
Because they already have, you know, we're just adding
We're
another.
adding a little bit.
Yeah, we're just adding, we'll get to that next. What's your word? Tell me your word. It's the next level, whatever in your.
So the grade.
The grades. Yeah.
So really functionally, you're eliminating 3 firefighter 2s and adding 3 battalion chiefs. That's the budget difference. Right. Because those people just move up and then you don't backfill them on positions. So you already have that much of the salary there for 3 firefighter 2s. And it's just a marginal increase to have the free battalion chiefs.
Where it really resonated for me was that it puts, right, we run three, I'm sorry, that's okay. What are they? Three platoons, right, to cover the 20, I can't even say it about that. To cover 24/7, we run three platoons or shifts. The battalion chief model puts decision-making authority in the house for every one of those shifts. Right now, the chief could ask the captain to fulfill that role, and by union agreement, they could decline. And after, when we move to battalion chief, it negates that potential conflict. So it is a tremendous benefit to have a decision maker there 24/7. It's not.
Right. I was gonna say, it improves the management, so you're operating more efficient.
Yeah.
And it creates some opportunity
It does,
for guys in the department.
for the next level, it is absolutely.
When your work goes up over time.
Okay, Joe. So the next item is just like we've already discussed, is some of the differences on what they're going to do, to what I'm going to do, to hopefully help me do better at using the chief and this is how that we can attack the chiefs, so. And then we'll go to the line items. And. I know, okay, I haven't heard that. And then these are just the line items that we have shown and. I would like, I guess I'll point out this. In the event that, just real quick about talking about the automatic aid. As of right now, I have 3 paid call people that, and all of them are over 60.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So I don't really want them on front.
Yeah.
So we're at the point of now, for the 24 years, we've always had this problem. We keep pushing money and pushing money and pushing money, and then we still have nobody to fall back on. That's why the automatic aid was kind of brought up. I can get 3 fully staffed crews from Pocatello on an automatic aid agreement. And then we start looking at what we call a pay call status looks like. So we've never had a full-time budget. So I have to have a way to track overtime. We've never had an overtime budget. So if you'll see where it says full-time salaries overtime, then it says premium hours. The guys work either a 96 or a 144 in a pay period. When they hit the 144, that's the premium hours. So that's what we call on our line items as an overtime, but it's true, it's not an overtime, they're still just only working the shifts that they're asked to work. So I've asked that I have a line item of a true overtime, so when I have somebody calling sick or gone on vacation, then I have a way to track truly when I'm asking people to come in for extra above and beyond so that I can track that. So then that's still what we chose to do is we took it out of that pay call line item and just put it there, and we're starting with the 22,000 to see what that does. So again, I'm not using or asking for extra, I'm just going to reallocate it from the pay call, just to track,
Makes sense.
okay? Is there any other questions on that line, any of that?
No.
Administrative, everything looks pretty. There's anything there that we really greatly changed.
Yeah, you're down that 26,000 That was just aligning with what your historic expenses have been.
To try to, you know. And then training and prevention. Uh, We added a little bit to uniforms just because we added a couple of guys. Other than that, we did nothing real simple. And then if you look at this, vehicle and equipment one, you can see that we got rid of that. Under that line item for SCBA to 30,000. They put that in there for, when this is what I understood from Chief Miller, when the SCBA's were ready to expire, in that 30,000 was for a payment for him, is where that came from. And he's just been sitting on it, so we decided we'll just take that out and reallocate it some, because then, you know, and then we'll talk about. We'll be more proactive about the future on what we're doing to get there, or this city month, that's what we're saying.
As we talked with council, as we adjust that fund balance, assigning revenues, specific revenues to the departments, letting them realize the benefit of their good efforts in management of the fund balance. It will alleviate the need to program the monies into there as a line item.
Some of the auxiliary equipment that you see, that was a little heavy from last year, just because it was that way due to us getting the new truck. So equipping that with some of that, so that's all taken care of, we're putting some back and should be good. Oh, and then, just real quick, can you go to the, Joey, to the Idaho Department lands?
It's Jess.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the training portion of this all, does that include, are you guys looking at including wildfire training?
Yeah, in fact, we've already done, everybody is red card and done that. We've already got it done.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, so real. Can you do the Idaho Department? Let's go to the next slide. So we are going to start an agreement with Idaho Department of Lands this year to do contract fires. So real quick, we can talk about, wildland training and everything, they call it red card. So I just threw this slide up here to show you some of the reasons for what the red card is and what it gets. So it just confirms your training, your fitness, and that you're qualified. And that you're able to go out on large incidents, whether that's state or federal. So what that does is, we have all of the last 3 months, we've been working pretty hard on it. Everybody has their red cards now. We just got our agreement from the Idaho Department of Lands today. Hopefully we'll have it signed by the end of the week. And then what we do is we list our equipment as a resource. And then as a big incident comes up, they call and say, hey, I'm gonna hire you with your, let's say it's a tender and a personnel, and then they're gonna go to that fire. Not only are they gonna pay for the equipment and the personnel for that fire, they're gonna pay us backfill, which is overtime for the people that I call in to fill that guy's position. So we have a pretty good opportunity of generating some revenue for our department. So.
Sorry, I keep interjecting, because it took me a minute to learn all this time. It's not the best. This is not us sending our primary ladder truck. This is the equipment and resources that we had when we represented North Bannock County.
Right.
Which are largely unused now inside the city. So we have the equipment, we have a model to assign people to it.
And the biggest things that will probably go out will be the tender and our push truck. But stuff like sending our main frontline ladder truck or our engine is not.
We don't sacrifice.
That's not what we're. So.
How do your crews feel about this?
they're super excited.
I would guess they were.
Because it does give them the opportunity to also make, because of their agreement with the union. They, what they call portal to portal, which means as soon as they leave our station, they are paid 24/7 until they get back, period. So it's a pretty big deal. So
So,
it's good for everybody, and I'm hoping that might be something that I can work on for some retention, for some summer help that I can get some younger kids and then send them out, and we'll just use them as summer help. They get to make a great wage in the summer and everything, and then when we're done with fire season, I'm not so obligated if we can say, hey, what's the, probably want a break anyways, and then we'll bring it back in the summer, so there's some options there for both of you. That will create, but.
Just-
Do you guys have any other questions?
just a side tangent on that one, so the equipment's ready to go, it's serviceable, all that good stuff. Maybe this is on the equipment that's going on wildfires, right? The equipment on that one is serviceable, ready to go, maintenance done.
Ready to go? We've been, all we've been waiting for is this agreement, so they've, you know, it takes probably a lot to get all that information, but. Yeah, we're on our end, we are fully trained, red carded, everything was done, the truck's ready to roll. All we're waiting for is sign that, put us on the list.
And there's no potential for that kind of stuff this year.
Not at all.
It might be a good year that we get.
Yeah.
So,
You might be able to get your own.
So it sounds like you're supportive of that, and we are.
Yeah.
We'll need to look at that agreement
Yes.
through Ryan.
Yeah.
Get
As soon as I get it,
Get that done as quick as we can.
I wanted to ask you a follow-up question on that, pumper. When you have it under fiscal year 30, does that mean that it be needed then in 2030? Is that the time you order?
So. Just to understand when I put these together, I just had to kind of go with the timeline and just do a 5-year, right? So that's, the only reason that I plugged it in there is because. The truck that we had was in 2020, it's now 26, so it's 6 years old. If we look at 4 years.
Yeah.
That would be that's why I landed it at the 30, because we have 4 years to get it. 3 or 4 before you.
So fiscal year 30 is when you're gonna order the.
No, if you wanted it 30, if you wanted to keep on the 10-year timeline, you would have to order it now.
Yeah, and so my question was, you place an order now, how much do we have to have up front? That's, you know.
I'll have to get a question.
Right, in other words, if we can lock in a lower price by ordering now, I don't know.
We did save quite a bit of money with the truck doing that, but, you know. We saved a lot of money with the truck doing that.
Right.
By the time the truck, we ordered it and it was on order for 3 and almost 3.5 years. And by the time it was built and out the door. We figure it's about. We got out the door with it about 1.7 and it's about 2.2 now. Yeah. For the same exact.
And that's
Just
fine,
getting
yeah.
material costs that they add.
So that same price differential that you told us earlier when you were talking about the pumper. Now versus future dollars,
Yeah.
maybe that's something you could look at to.
I'll get an answer for that, but I don't have that.
Yeah, just something to look at.
Nor do we have $1 million, so
Right.
that's what that's true.
But I'm just saying, I'm just putting that on the timeline of what we've been, it's the 10-year and then it goes to. Another 10 on the reserve side, so just so you guys,
Okay,
that's. Just what we'll keep track, but I can move that to however.
He's following the guidance to programming what we think needs are in that 5-year schedule.
Yeah.
There may be some flexibility.
There would be great.
There are questions for Chief Clark?
No, we know where it is.
And what he writes. Great, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Agenda item 3. Agenda item 3 is the budget presentation for building planning and development. That currently lives under Bridger and Public Works. So, where do we start?
Okay, so this group of. I guess we'll call it this department. Does use the general fund. budget, which is why it's separated from the other. Budget. So we're including building department, planning department, and development services. On the budget request summary, you can see there a comparison between the current year's budget and our proposed budget this year. So the biggest difference is a reduction in salaries because of, well, the Devon leaving was one of the reasons, and then there's been a few other allocation changes that have happened, but so there's some savings in salaries. When I say savings, I mean reduction in budget, not necessarily reduction, but has been historical action, right, cost, but and then our admin costs are pretty close to the same. They dropped a little bit, but our operational expenses increased coincidentally by the same. And then we are seeing some cost savings by doing our electrical inspections in-house, both electrical and I need to clarify. Plumbing inspections are now being done in-house, which were historically done by the state of Ohio. Electrical, we are contracting directly with a individual to do the electrical inspections, which were also historically done in Ohio. So that combination has stayed the same. So we're showing that here. And then another significant difference between prior years and this coming year is that our comprehensive plan has been completed, and so those expenses that we've seen in the past are not anticipated. This is just the summary, so probably obvious to everyone, this department primarily consists of people without a lot of equipment expenses or project expenses, and so the bulk of it is in wages and benefits. There's some administrative costs. We'll go through those in a minute, and then a little bit of the equipment and safety expenses. As for our 5-year plan on capital equipment, really the only thing that we anticipate needing are a couple of pickup trucks for our building inspectors. They're currently quite old. They're functioning, but at some point they will stop or will become more expensive to fix than replace. And so we programmed them in out a few years and staggered those, but you'll see that we are budgeting some money each year to save for that. So we have a line item for saving from that fund. So that would be good. And then projects, we mentioned the comp plan update. We did that. John, you know when we started the last one? It is a several year process, at least a couple of year process, but early 2000. So that's already 3 years ago we started that. And so to keep on some type of schedule, we are planning to do another update around fiscal year 29. So we plug that in as well, just to keep up on that process. As for personnel, we don't really intend any significant changes, although we do have a need for some additional planning assistance. So our plan there would be to hire a part-time. The duties would be part-time planning tech level type duties, so it's to help on with processing, design review applications, planning questions, planning applications, those types of things. And so we programmed that in as a half-time FTE in the budget for this year. Onto the line item budget. I don't know if there's anything specific you guys want to, but we do this department does generate revenue through permit fees, inspections, things like that. And so of the anticipated So we're expecting our expenses to be about $556,000, you guys saw that report. Of that, we believe that about 277 will be generated through our fees, which leaves that top number of 279, 329 as needing to come from the general fund. In addition to what our fees are generating, so that's how we're estimating revenue. And we think let's go through typical wages and benefits, type expenses for our employees. The administrative costs, some of the big ones are our IT expenses for those employees. Some of the travel and training expenses that go on certifications. And then you have the $15,000 towards the bottom, that is what this page going pay to our electrical inspections. And that next page is just, well, it does cover the equipment, and so we have in there that $20,000, which is just a plan, sort of a capital planning number. We don't intend to spend it this year, but we would hope to save it for kind of growth. Why don't we work with we had it all. Yeah, similar thing on the fire page, the very last line, there, just $35,000 for comp plan. Some of that we think is actual expenses that we will spend on some tasks to keep the thing progressing, and then portion of that is saved for that future measure up.
Right, I saw the question.
Yes, sir.
What was the difference between with the in-house permitting as opposed to when we were paying Pocatello?
I should have that number for you by you.
Just like,
And what's the value amounts gone to pay?
The round number though is that we transferred 80% of the fee to Pocatello. Might be 75, whatever it was, but we collected a plumbing, I'll use plumbing for example, we collected a plumbing permit. We transferred 75 to 80% of that cost to Pocatello for them to perform an inspection. We kept a portion of it to issue the permit and a little bit of administration. That function now is being performed by Ron Osborne, our building official, so no added staff to do that, and we realize 100% of the permit revenue.
I do think that overall, we are also saving on the electrical side of it, but I don't know.
I was just curious about their numbers, what those numbers would be, so
I can get
whatever you can.
any other questions, like any of that. So,
Just want to go through. Is that what you mean?
When I give just a summary for this, I think this is important for us to realize, this is largely general fund oriented. Richard and his team have reduced their expenses in general fund categories, which we all realize the critical nature of that.
Right.
And I didn't have this direct conversation, but I think the money programmed to the part-time FTD can be offset by these wages, general fund oriented. I don't know what those allocations are, but if you remember when we did the admin budget, we represented a payroll savings in combining jobs, counting out those 4 jobs. So there is some wage savings.
Yeah.
That could cover that request.
Okay.
Is that a fair statement, Scott?
That's fair.
May not be dollar for dollar on allocation.
Yeah, it depends on the allocation, so I don't know those right on the top of my head.
My goal is kudos to them for paying attention to budgets and
Absolutely.
we're doing what we can to help mitigate our general fund exposure.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move to other questions for Richard and the department. Great, let's move to agenda item 4, which is parks. There's actually 2 different departments here. It's parks and then a separate function going to be in recreation.
Yeah, I think historically Parks and Rec has been presented together. We split it apart officially this year, so now we can see the actual revenue and expenses, both sides, but mostly the rec side, to know how that program is functioning on its own. So the first, sheet here, just our overall request summary. You'll notice that estimated revenue, that top line is down 153,000. That's a little bit skewed because the 26 final budget, that number is actually what we received this year in our budget. That wasn't our 26 budget number, that's what we received. So, we're requesting less, which is great. Some of the big differences, the budget highlights in the parks budget is we did move out. The rec coordinator program salaries has historically been in the parks budget. We moved those out into the rec budget this year. So there's a decrease of $45,000 that way. And then, in wages and benefits, we are about the same. It includes 6 seasonal workers' wages. Administration, we can go through some of those detailed administration and operational expenses. Moving down to capital equipment, that 115,000, we're planning for a commercial mower purchase. And then our capital projects, they're planning to do some bathroom restoration at Cotan and then drinking fountains at Cable and Cotan both. And then some playground improvements at Bicentennial and Heritage. That 115,000, oh, it's actually not there. We're also saving some capital planning, 80,000 for some future purchases that we're the big ones here, the facility maintenance is down 83,000. That's because we had programmed in previously 90,000 for our tennis court repairs and maintenance and revamping. We're planning on using that this year, hopefully getting that done. And so we won't have that going forward. And then the 83,000 is safety.
That's for our capital plan, for
Yes.
mower and, our improvements for.
The line, yeah, the line item fall weird, classifies under safety for a weird reason, just because there is in the line item budget, but it is under our capital plan.
Yeah. That big changes for the large mower and then our improvements for capital plan, which is listed right down.
What kind of improvements are you doing over at Cotan?
So we still have wooden stalls in our restroom. I'd like to get those actual real stalls.
Mhm.
And then, the drain stop. I want to put drain stops in like that up here.
Okay. Perfect. Sure.
Okay, capital equipment, we talked about before, a large commercial mower. As if you look at the bottom of that chart, where we show the source of those funds. Last year, well, we programmed last year into this year's budget, $30,000 to go towards that mower purchase. And so then we have 85 remaining out of general fund. So some of that is savings. And then a couple other mower and improver purchases over the course of the next 4 years. Do you want to say anything?
No, there's that question about it.
But I take it we got a large enough, trailer to move that commercial mower?
We drive on, yes.
Okay.
We have large enough roads to.
Yeah.
Alright. Gotcha.
Under the projects, we just talked about these, that's the 35,000 for restrooms and drinking fountains and playground improvements, and those are included in our capital plan and line item, 150,000.
Gotcha.
No personnel plans until 28, other than the seasonal workers. And then the line item budget. If you look at the top highlighted area, that 30,000, that is showing that one-time balance transfer that we would use out of this year's savings for the moment.
Okay. Got a second question.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about the tennis court and the remodeling. Are our fees to use the court sufficient to cover that? How short are we on that one?
We had budgeted previously for the courts to be resurfaced. We haven't had for 5 years.
Mhm.
So this is the year they're getting resurfaced, so we're taking that out of we won't need to have them resurfaced now. We should be on a 10-year.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking is, are those fees that we collected previous years enough to cover?
No,
Well, Roger says if I read this right, tennis team
Yeah,
income $370.
yeah, our fees to use the tennis courts are getting a key, which is $10
a season.
a key, yeah, so.
Yeah. That's your smell.
Just look at my face, right?
90,000 offset by 300. It's a small difference, but.
I'll leave it away. We'll talk offline.
Sure. I don't know what other was.
Much changes.
Yeah, sorry.
For what was listed in capital plan. One of the bigger changes, I mean, is in shoulder. We did bump up our tree replacement. So that you'll see a bit of an increase on that acreage. To either help replace trees on areas such as New Day, such as, side streets. Replacements, so.
What usually causes the death of those streets or for need replacement?
Good question. It could be too much water, right? A lot of those are storm drains, swells.
Mhm.
So when we have potential flooding, it happens. Compacted soil, improper planting, the roots starve and don't get nutrients, and then just natural causes.
We've changed species a little bit, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
We quit planting that version that dies every year.
Yeah, those lace bark elms that we've had at McShue with, we don't plant those no more, so. Yeah, it's tough to say. Trees are delicate. When you have as many out there as we do, you're gonna have loss in about 75% survival rate. It's trees.
That's not bad. Okay. Sure.
Figure out two bedrooms up my place last Saturday.
Is it? Probably put up by my house, so.
I think the rest of them we've already spoke about, again, the facilities maintenance, yeah, because of tennis courts, capital planning. And large equipment. Other major ones of those remaining categories.
And how much is in capital planning that we're carrying forward? That's in two of those categories, so isn't it more like 80,000
Yeah,
that we're hoping to move forward? Okay, the reason I ask that is total budget increase is 56. If we weren't planning for the future, we'd actually be down forward. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Favorite friend.
questions on that? Went on to red. So we go back one. The first line here, that estimated revenue, in 2026.
Back one more page, Joey.
No, it's David, I have to catch
Oh,
In 2026, we estimated $90,000 in revenue, being conservative because we didn't really know where we'd land. In 26, we actually brought in that 138,000, because that's what we estimated for this year, just to be conservative. Wages and benefits, again, that salary was moved out of parks into rec, so we're showing that here. Administration costs really are just all the equipment, supplies, building maintenance stuff. And then the capital projects, we're gonna do some work, I say word like I'm out there. Aaron and his wonderful team are gonna do some floorboard replacement and some diamond fencing replacement. The next page, just a quick picture of that. I think equipment and projects and rec are used somewhat interchangeably. Scoreboards could be considered either, but we're gonna put the scoreboards on a plan to replace one every couple years, so. It could be considered projects, so that's where it's at. Yeah. So nothing on equipment. Under our projects, we have the scoreboard replacement, the diamond fencing replacement, and then now replacements every 5 years. We just did mounds last year, so they'll happen again in 31.
Yes, so we'll start and then probably every year after 31, we'll be requesting funding to get those mounts replaced.
Okay. So, okay, let me backtrack, wait, was that the artificial mound?
Yes, artificial mounts,
Okay.
yes. Yes,
So the,
movable mounts.
the big ones,
Portable mounts.
yes, okay,
Yes,
not the ones, but the practice ones.
not the clay mounts, these are our actual, portable mounts. Yeah. We put them away after the season, store them, we keep them, we get condition and bring them.
Another silly question, this is kind of a little bit off tangent. Talking to a friend who loves softball. And he was talking about one where he had a friend who ran one of the tournaments. And the guy pocketed, close, I think pocketed anything between $50,000 to $90,000 for a 3-day tournament, depending on how many teams they got. My big question is this, is with a part-time rec person, she do that? And so we started taking over some of those, for lack of better words, duties. So then this becomes a revenue generator.
Well, my recollection, she had talked about doing tournaments years prior. I don't know what's preventing that.
We do an all-star tournament with Pocatello on our boys rec now. Our girls haven't really. They're all super league teams that do this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm talking about,
So
the
they're
super league
level,
teams.
yeah,
Smart.
and that seems like a lot, 50 to 90,000 profit
Yeah.
on something like that.
Well, yeah, and normally I wouldn't even put too much weight into it, but this man has had 5 girls who play softball. They're all very good softball players. I trained 2 or 3 of them, and just like I said, he's been in it for this long, and just talking to him and from what he's gathered, and they're looking at that kind of money, just for the 3-day tournament.
It could be something that we could discuss. We just have to make sure that it doesn't conflict with our rec league teams, our games and our program.
Build certainly.
Yeah,
That's the biggest factor.
yeah, it's hard to pack everybody in right now as it is with as many applicants as we get every season, so.
Yeah.
But
She did show interest in having more tournaments, so.
Yeah. I mean,
Push
so
that forward.
even talking to some people at Mac, they love our fields because they're so well maintained. So that's close for me. Granted, it's a little bit harder between him and the commissioners, but that's a whole different animal. But they like our fields better than the ones over at their complex, so. I figured we can. Without going into too much damage to those fields, see if we could get, like I said, I'm just curious how viable it is that we can. Make those more of a revenue generator for us.
right,
So instead of letting somebody else take it and basically trash the place, so.
We can certainly look into that for 27.
So,
Tournaments.
yeah.
Just to
The
talk.
more we can get back to the program, the better.
Yeah. Forgot where it was, the 45,000 shown there in wages and benefits, administration line items, last year's. Some of those, last year was a lot of equipment purchasing, we had to kind of stock up. Buy new equipment, new mounds, new pitching machines, so we've done a lot of that already, so a lot of those administrative expenses have decreased because we are there now, we don't have to like build our inventory.
Yeah. We're on line item. Really.
I think that
Most of it.
is that it, yeah, we're with expected revenue and anticipated expenses, we're actually showing $1,500 extra, so. Very rough.
Aaron, quick question. On the scoreboards in Cotempo, I'm sorry, taking some time. Do we have coverage for them for the winter? Do we cover them all?
No,
Or can we?
we can't, they're made for the elements.
Yeah.
I mean, they're made and produced to withstand what we have out there. I guess we could get big tarps and bungee cord them around them if we wanted to. All the components are self-enclosed waterproof, you know.
Yeah.
And they go through our, they're but they're just aged, they're really aged. And our problem is that Daktronics, who we got those from originally, they discontinued them. So we can no longer get parts for those.
Yeah.
And that's why we're trying to get this replacement plan put in place to where, okay, we're gonna get some replaced one every year and try to keep up on that. That way we can route parts from the old ones to keep the ones that we had going. Instead of just trying to get one great big budget, we need them all replaced.
No, I understand, totally. I was just thinking in terms of, like I said, you know, being into what they paid and so forth, maybe save. You know, maybe worth $60 or project or save us. I don't know, so money down the road, at least we put nicer, we're good.
Yeah.
Thought.
Still sponsorships for scoreboards, so maybe a decade ago. I paid for a scoreboard and we got our logo up there, and I think the sign still that it's faded, I can't tell if it was us.
Yeah, yeah.
But, there's opportunity, I don't know if we've talked about that here. Just came to mind if I listened to that.
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
Sponsorship for scoreboards was around in January.
Yes, and the new ones that we've actually ordered. Take a little bit extra to have a sponsor. On the boards themselves, yeah, and it's a pretty good size, so that is something that I've been talking about, having discussed with Kayla that we could do a higher sponsor, get their logo or whatever, put on those new scoreboards.
So normally Jay does that for both the boys and girls, it falls off of them, so.
Yeah, our sponsors, we give them signed and we put them on the dugouts right now, but that would be part of that tier of donation, right? If you're a higher donor, you get your name up on that scoreboard, so.
That's a cool.
Not necessarily budget, Brian, but on many parks. I'm getting compliments from my residents on the condition of parks this year. I don't know if you've seen it, taking a chance, those that I drive past and in my neighborhood look immensely better. Kudos to EMSD for elevating that effort.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I pass that along.
I'm hearing from the public, I do get those calls and emails that people are appreciating it.
I've noticed them too.
And for clarity, council, I sent out an email 2 weeks ago indicating the change in Cammie's position. Everybody get that? Okay, we're not gonna re-announce it. She's been doing the job.
Right, yeah.
Parks falls under Cammie's authority now. That's why she's helping Aaron. Last item, number 5 is the SharePoint presentation. And I look at each other. She does not like this tool. Personally, she's gonna love it on behalf of the city of Chuck.
I love it.
Did everybody get an email invitation today? Joe, that, you know?
We did not send one out today.
Okay.
We will after this meeting.
This is I would classify it as an internal website to service council. So you are the only individuals who have access to it, it's not public. But our goal is to provide you with one stop that you can go access. All of the information from council meetings, outside resources. With all that in mind, Joey's the expert that has built it. Go.
So this is what it'll look like when you go to it. We'll add your council meeting. You can access the agenda. It also will have the Zoom link, so if you're ever on vacation and need to access the meeting through Zoom, you'll instantly have that through your SharePoint. So you can just click on the Zoom link, and access the information. The packets will also be here that you can download. It'll be broken out just like it is online. With all the presentations, you can download them or however you want to access them. We have just general resources, financial reports, Farming City ordinances and resolutions. A link to the Association of Irish Cities if you want to put this on there, information training, a link to the city code book. If you want to look up any information there, and then we've kind of broken up different sections, budget, we have the AIC budget manual, financial strategies, parks, this link will take you to like any park or city amenities. And then these are some of the concept plans that are out there that our new parks and rec committee kind of looked at. City sponsored urban renewal, we didn't do all the urban renewals, because they're more developer owned. The Yellowstone kind of has more of a city presence. These are the two applications that people can apply to participate in the Yellowstone urban renewal. Road responsibilities, open meeting law. We will post active public hearings. Only thing we will post there is the list of public hearing. I want to be very cautious. It is still a public hearing, and it is possible that it will be an action item before you. So use it for information and information only. But it will only be the public hearing notice that you will receive in that area.
The goal there was, I know the council gets questions, I've seen a sign up in front of someone's yard and you don't know what it's about. This will identify,
Okay.
help answer those questions.
Well, this also, aside from that, looks like, well, I know we get to let the minutes for both. Yes, thank you. We'll have any other information from those two other committees. Will we have access to those?
Yeah, we can have that, that's a great idea, actually, CDA Foundation and Land Use Commission.
Just a thought. I just thought I had more work to do, so.
I know there's a couple of you that sign completely liaison for the new committees, the building. You will also get access to their SharePoint site, those two council members will have access to go to the sites that they can. And same thing, the bill for land use, this is how they'll access their packets. So, we're trying to free up our website for the public to access. And not get that maxed out,
Okay.
so.
So where do we go to get this?
You'll get a link and you can just save it in your browser, pull it up whenever, and like I say, and you'll still get the email saying, here's your packet information. I'm gonna have the link on that every time. And you'll still get, I'll still send those emails, letting you know that it's available. But I'll have it on here for you. You get those emails.
Questions about that use, let us know what you want. The goal is that it's just a resource for you in one spot that you can go look at historic documents, upcoming information. Want to empower you to have access to that information as much as possible.
We'll post city events, city sponsored events, whatever the heritage would be. We post it on our email. You will have a council meeting that day, we'll probably schedule the council meeting at 5. You have to adopt a tentative budget, and then we're hoping you'll go out and participate in this.
Or hot dogs.
There, it's you. So. Oh, for a good party.
If we can take 3 more minutes, Joey, would you go to that Parks GIS link that, that we built? The reason I think this is important, it's part of our Parks and Rec committee meeting. They assigned themselves to go walk 2 parks, every individual, and come back and report what do they see, what's concerns. The time I didn't know that we had this tool, but this is an internal created, I assume, Bridger, that this was built by your staff. I like the information associated. You just scroll through each part, see what amenities are there. It's a great representation of our community.
This is on our website too, just put it on our website.
What's that one?
That's our department.
It's supposed to be our cornhole.
Doesn't have a name.
Picture of that one, so, the cornhole board. Yeah.
Anyway, that resource is there. And the Rogers comment, if there are other information you want, this is a really clean way just to provide that. So, any other comments, announcements, council, staff? Great, thank you for your time again. Let's adjourn study session. We'll be back at 6 o'clock for council. Sure.